Hey, what's up, everybody? So we got our correction. This is a good thing, not a bad thing. This is what we want. This is a momentum sort of cleansing where we chill out and reset everything. So, looking at the Bitcoin price, we're coming down pretty aggressively, but we got a lot of support in here, right around 92, 93K, even more so about 90, 89K. So, this is a good opportunity to, in my opinion, potentially buy the dip in here somewhere. So we'll see how it all plays out. There's no guarantees, and it's not financial advice, but you can see, we made a top here, right? Looks like we got a 1, 2. Maybe we come down and get a 3, 4, and 5, right? And that could be your A. And then we come up for a B, and then maybe get some kind of running flat here for a C, or, we'll have to wait and see about that. But that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a little bit more of a pause period here. So we can either come down, retest, and then just continue breaking out, right? So kind of like that. Very, very plausible. So we're just going to have to see how it reacts down here. But let's look at some altcoins. I mean, THETA really hasn't flinched, to be quite honest. Let me look at something real quick. THETA versus BTC. I'm just curious what it's doing. Yeah, look at that. If you look at THETA versus BTC, resistance, right? You're cupping into the resistance. You're cupping into the resistance, right? And then you can see we're cupping in. We're cupping in. So it's looking bullish here. We just had a pretty significant dump. Look at the market. Bitcoin down 4%, CFX down 4%, APT down 5%, Big XRP's flat, Link's down 2%, VeChain's down like 10%. Jupiter's down 5%, 5%, 5%, 4%, 4.5%, 7, 8%. TIA's up 1%. So you can see, there's a little bit of a Black Friday sale potentially in the works here, So we'll see. Maybe crypto gives you a Black Friday deal, huh? But yeah, THETA versus Bitcoin, right? It's kind of just chilling right here, you know what I mean? So that's a good thing. Same with THETA Fuel versus Bitcoin. We're sort of right in here. So some of the markets down 4, 5, 10%, and some of them are just kind of chilling, like basically nothing happened. So let's go back. Let's look at THETA here. So let's zoom in to the 1 hour. So what's happening here? Well, when you zoom out, you can clearly see, right? We're higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, right? So we're trending up. So until that's broken, we have to assume that's what it's going to be. So let's see if we have this trend line here, something like that, right? You can kind of see it. I mean, there's different ways you can draw it, but essentially somewhere in that area, right? That's one way you can, that's the appropriate time to use a trend line, is to kind of see where you are, right? So what I see here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 waves up, and then it looks like we had a big A. This looks like a B, and maybe we're coming down into a running flat here for a C, and then continue higher. That's one way to look at it. Another way is this was an expanded flat, and it's finished. And this is a 1, and that's an ABC2, and we have a 1, 2, 1, 2 in here. So essentially, we have a 1, and we're flagging out. Boom, 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 and we eventually will break out. That's another way to look at it. And another way is to say that we have 3 down, and then we get 1, 2, 3 up, and then maybe we get 3 later, and then we go. But that's going to offer consolidation, chilling out, right? Accumulation. So that's kind of how I see it. I mean, we're really in a tough spot because you have point A, point B, you're right in the middle, like I said before, right in the middle of these retracement levels. So it can go either way. Which way do I think it's going to go? Well, based off the wave structure, let's zoom in a little bit. It has a little bit of a appearance. I mean, this looks like an impulse to me. And this looks like a 3-wave move to the downside. But I don't know what that is. It's not developed yet, so we have to wait and see. But if this is sort of, let me see here. Yeah, it's not done. So whatever this is, right? So maybe this is 3 down, and then we get 3 up, it's a flat, and then maybe 3 back down, and it becomes like a WXY, something a little bit bigger. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But it's there's nothing to be worried about. It looks perfectly bullish, just simple consolidation. You can see something similar here. We popped up, and then we sort of did that. You know, something a little bit similar, right? There's your down move, right? There's your up move. So you got something similar here. So if I'm assuming, you got to assume that it should break out, right? Or it should climb higher. So the 2-minute chart, we're getting a little bit of a bounce, but you shouldn't look at it. But I'm just kind of trying to see the wave structure here. So we'll come back to theta. All right, let's look at another chart. Again, Bitcoin is making its way back down to here, which is good. You know what? Oh, I see it now. I know what this, okay. I know exactly what this is. I've seen this before. All right, now it's coming back to me. Okay, you ready? Watch this. Watch this. Okay, so this is a fractal. All right, and I've seen it before. It's not financial advice. I could be wrong, but let me show you what I mean. Let me go down to, let's go to the daily. And let me show you. So here we go. I got the fractal up for us, and there you go. That's what I think is going on here. So let me just save that, and we can look at the live chart. So basically where we are here is, look at this, guys. Look at this. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that big, of course, but obviously this means potentially we got some more bullishness coming, but it looks very similar. Number one, you got the run up in Bitcoin. You got that there. And then you kind of like did something like that, right? Boom, boom, right? Then you shot up. Same thing here. You shot up and you kind of made a little Bart Simpson's head here, right? Boom, right? Then you drop down. You retested it. We're dropping down. We're retesting. And then we're probably accumulating here, right? And then we start to accelerate. And then we start to accelerate. It's the same thing. That's why it pays to have a good memory with crypto, because then you can think to yourself, oh, you know, the more you look at the charts, the more you remember things, right? And this is the larger time frame, so it's pretty easy to remember. But yeah, that's what I think. This is a nice looking fractal here. So we'll see how that continues to play. But anyways, I just thought about that right now. So that's cool. Right on. So if that's the case, we can translate that to the altcoins. So what would the count be then? Well, it looks like it would be some kind of ABC, right? And then kind of build a little bit of a base here, and then start to accelerate back to the upside. So let's go to XRP. If let's say we translate that to XRP, it's very difficult because it's in a different spot, but it could be either something like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So yesterday we were down here and I said we want to come up into a retracement, and then we can figure out if it's has the potential to escape. So now that we got the retracement, exactly what we talked about, it looks to me like it was corrective, which means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A. We have 1, 2, 3, that's a B, right? And then this looks like 1, 2. It looks like we're coming down for 3, 4, and 5 for C. And that would make sense because when you add Bitcoin on, right, it's got a little bit more downside, but then it's got some consolidation, right? And then we can continue higher. So maybe around $1.20 is a good spot. Let's figure that right now. Let's do a measurement here, a trend-based fib extension from the bottom, or from the top to the bottom, back to the top. A 1-to-1 extension gets you, right about $1.20. So there you go. Let's see if that plays. That would be an interesting spot to buy the dip. If we look at the smaller time frames here, definitely corrective, definitely a little bit bearish. You can kind of see a little bit of a bear flag in here, right? That's different than bottlenecking, because you have these bigger swings, right? And then we made a lower high here. So now here's one other count for us. Well, first let me just say that this could be, again, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but here's another count here, which is a flat. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like a diag. And then we have A, B, and now we're coming down for C. So that would be 2, right? And then we start to run up. So that makes sense too. And basically, yeah. So that's kind of, those are the two counts that I see for XRP. So let's keep it moving. Same thing with other coins out there. Like here's Conflux. You got an A, you got a B, and it looks like you have a C in the works here. So let's see if it's a running flat, if it's a regular flat, if it's an expanded flat. You know what I mean? So we'll see how this starts to play out. But what I'm doing is I'm looking at these waves strongly. Like here's Link, for example, right? This is a flat. You have A, you come all the way up, you take the top, and what I'm doing is I'm waiting for the C wave to finish. It could finish here, it could finish here, it could finish here, right? But you don't want it to be too far below this low. I would preferably want it above this because it went pretty significantly above. So I would look at it as a running flat. So somewhere around in here, and I'll look at the wave structure, see if there's divergence on the small time frame, then start to DCA, right? Into a little bit of a, for my trading, right? So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Let's look at VeChain here. Something a little bit similar, right? You can kind of see the same thing, right? We had 3 down. You got this move up, you got another 3 down, maybe you get 4 and 5. It looks like a big 3-wave move. You got a big impulse, and now you're flagging out. So I would expect it to break out eventually, but it's probably not done correcting. So, but you can kind of see a little bit of a shoulder, a little bit of a head here, but then it kind of failed. So that's no good. But look at this. You have also an impulse, and then you have a 3-wave pullback here. So let's look at this. It looks like you got 1, 2, 3, 4. and then maybe 5. So A, B, C, somewhere down in here. Let's see if we can, where these order blocks are, let's see if we can hold in here and then get a retracement. And then once we do that, let's see if we can get through those retracements. And the way we'll know is how it moves up. All right. Jupiter, like I said, I bought some Jupiter, just kind of dollar cost averaging. I'll cut the trade if we break the low. Simple, right? Because I'm looking at this as a flag, and we could come down here a little bit more, but if that's the case, I don't really want to take that much risk. I don't mind buying back at a higher price as long as it's more of an assurance for me. So anyways, let's keep moving here. Injective. Yeah, you can kind of see it right here. Boom, boom, boom. You got to move here. Let's go back to the 1 hour. Looks like we're getting a flat. So you get 3 down, you get 3 up, and most likely you're going to get 1, 2, 3 back down, right? So that's where I would be interested, somewhere in this area. The way you'll know, right, just do a little bit of a measurement here. It doesn't have to be exact, right? Remember, dollar cost averaging doesn't mean going all in one spot, but maybe a little bit at the 786, maybe a little bit at the 1-to-1, maybe a little bit more down here, right? So either here or here would be a good spot, depending, if it's an expanded flat or what have you. Dot. So same thing with dot. Look at dot. You have a big run up, you have an A, and then you have a B, and now it looks like we're coming down for a C. So you take this whole wave, maybe cut it in half. That's where we're probably going to have a little bit more downside, and that's good. We want downside on Mondays. We don't want downsides on Thursdays and Fridays, because then it makes for a weaker weekly close. So, it's good that if there's any day of the week that we could correct, it would be Monday and Tuesday. Those are the best days of the week to correct. And then Wednesday we retrace, and then Thursday we break, and then Friday we fly. And then Saturday we chill, and then Sunday we close. That's like the perfect crypto week in my book, because then it offers more sustainability versus pumping massively in the beginning of the week and then selling off massively toward the end of the week, so but yeah, dot looks like a 3-wave move coming soon. How deep could it get? Now things could get, that's the idea, right? But things can get a little bit more dicey, right? If panic sets in, right? For example, we could have a complex B wave, boom. That could be boom, and then we go down, right? And then go up, right? So that's number one. Another way to look at it is if, the price kind of just does an ABC. But if we come back up and we get rejected in here, right, and then we start coming back down, then it could be a lot worse, even coming back down, way down here to sort of retest some of these areas, right, your back test levels right in here, right, and then sort of, build a little bit of a base and then start to work your way back up. So that would kind of be worst case scenario that I would look at. Something fast and furious, right? So you kind of want to protect your position, you know what I mean? Like, for example, if someone goes long here, you break out, you make some good money, but then you ride it all the way back down, you get scared, you cut it, and then it just reverses on you, and then you just basically broke even, So I took some profit on my dot, and and I'm just kind of waiting and seeing what happens. So no rush for me. ICP, I like it because it's still hanging up strongly, right? It didn't have a big dump. Of course, it didn't have a big pump either, right? So I feel like there's more momentum, more energy, more fuel stored up in the batteries versus like DOT, where it kind of like exploded and it has to kind of chill for a little bit. You can see like ICP, you know, we have something like that, we get something like that, and then maybe we get something like that. WXY, go. So again, all the charts are kind of leaning similar here. Ethereum, you know, you got an impulse, you got a flat, you pumped up, you're kind of flagging out in here. Kind of have to wait and see about that one. XLM, same thing. You pull A, B, maybe we get C, but the way it's coming down, it looks like we're gonna get a bigger B wave. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it looks like 1, 2. It looks like we're gonna come up here. So it could be A, that could be B, and then we get a C and then go. So I'm kind of on the fence which ones are gonna be. So it could be A, B, C, or the one I just put on. Another way too is to say, well, what if it's done? Like that's it, that's all you got, and there's your impulse, and then boom, you got a three-way pullback, and then here's a 1, here's a little bit of a 2, 1, 2, and now we're about to rip. Very possible as well. Let's look again. How do you know which ones are going to be? Well, you kind of get a feel for the whole market, and the whole market suggests that that's not going to be the case, right? It could be, but it's not as likely. You know, you got a little bit of a, it looks more three-wave-ish. So you got 3 up, you got 3 down, you know, maybe you get 3 back up and then you continue down. Or if this is an impulse, you got a 3-way pullback, right? We hit the top here, and then what do you have? You have a shoulder, you have a, you know, you're kind of working your way back up for a head, and then maybe another shoulder later, but I don't like it at all. It doesn't look appropriate. So anyway, I'm just kind of giving us a little bit of an idea here. Litecoin, I took my profit on Litecoin. I'm just kind of waiting to see how this plays here. So you got 3 down. This could come up in 3 and then we get 3 back. Or this is 3 and, or this is, wait, let's go to the 1 hour. It'll be easier. So we got 3 down, we got 3 up, and then now we're getting maybe another 3 or 5. So A, B, C, get down here and then go. That's number 1. That's what I'm thinking. Or this is going to come up like this, then come down. So boom, 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 then go. But it looks like it's dumping right now. Look at that. It's still dumping. So yeah, I cut my trade on it, or I took a lot of profit on it. So I'm just kind of waiting to see, you know. You got a little bit of a head and shoulders here. So, you know, it's got to chill out for a little bit. Render actually looks still bullish because it kind of is channeling up here. You know, it could be something like that. Very possible. So again, we're just gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to wait and see how things react in here. Sheeb, right? Had a little bit of a drawing here. You got 3 down, you got 3 up, and then maybe we get 3 back down, right? So that's one way to look at it. Another way is we got 3 we got 3 down, 3 up, and then that's it, but it's too small. It looks like it needs to be bigger. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I think I covered mostly, you know, a good amount of coins, right? This is a crash. This is like a retrace. You got a head and shoulders here. So it looks like we could have a serious ABC down here sometime soon, maybe this week. A lot of people think, oh, it's going to be bullish because of Thanksgiving. Nah, not really. Sometimes it's bad. Like sometimes there's bloody Black Friday massacres. And then once you get, towards December, like, the first, second week, you start getting into Christmas. That's when things kind of turn around. But I think we should have a bearish week, or at least the first several days. I mean, it doesn't look like this thing is going to turn around anytime soon. It needs work, right? Just look at the structure. It needs work. When we came up in 3. So I want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then once we get here, that's where I want to see an explosive move. So if we look at the 10-minute chart, and then let's take a little bit of a measurement here. Again, I'm just looking at many different coins to kind of give you an idea of the broader market. So we're going to go down, and then we're going to come back up, and then we should, in a perfect world, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hit the 1-to-1 extension right around $4.90. So A, B, C, build a little bit of a base, and then go. So that's how I'm looking at it. That's my main idea right now. Of course, it could be 3, and it could be shallow, right? It could be shallow. But, it's kind of just tracking it, right? So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Look at Matic, same thing, right? So anyways, cheers.